On the Rave with Addie and Gav is proudly sponsored by Xpress Lifestyle Solutions.
Whether it's home insurance or mortgages, Xpress Lifestyle Solutions can make a difference. On the Rave!
Hi, this is Mark Archer from Alternate.
Hi, this is Ian from Dream Frequency.
This is Slipmatt, and you're in tune to the On the Rave.
On the Rave.
On the Rave!
Podcast.
Watch your bass fins, I'm telling you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ravers of all ages, welcome back to the longest running episodic podcast out of Newcastle. The On the Rave podcast.
That's us.
That's us, yeah. That's On the Rave. He's Addie. And
I'm Gav. No, he's Gav.
He's Addie, I'm Gav. And you're tuned in once again to us on the On the Rave podcast. We hope you're all doing cush. We're going to start the podcast the way we always start these shows, Addie, which is with a bit of...
It's Ravers' Choice, Gav.
And today's Ravers' Choice has been picked on the Facebooks, I understand.
It's me. I can't remember what his name is on the Facebooks, but it's Elliot. Mr. Elliot writes, Mr. Champa Badman, Champa / Breadman, / Champa Dadman, Manchas Pash Badman.
What's he got and selected?
He's got and selected Bizarre Ink, Platonic.
And it's gonna be alright. And it's gonna be alright. And it's gonna be alright.
that was a bit of Bizarre Inc. picked by Mr. Champa Badman. It's quite ironic because Bizarre Inc. likes playing with knives and so does Elliot.
Oh, well, there you go.
Hey!
Yeah, he uses them to cut up the loaves and ting. Oh, he would have.
He would have.
He would have. If he'd still make a loaf for you.
It's still make a banging bread.
Oh, I reckon he makes an absolutely fucking banging croissant. Croissant, yeah.
Baguette. Banging baguette.
Yeah, a baguette from the Baguette Bagman. Thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of On the Rave podcast. We have got another one of those specials where we interview one of our wonderful, wonderful patrons.
Patron.
You're about to hear a conversation that we had on Zoom with Anthony. Addie, guess what?
What is that, Gavin?
We've managed to successfully womangle another interview with another one of our wonderful, wonderful patron supporters.
It's the Patreon podcast.
Yeah, we'll always do this. If you catch us up on Patreon, we offer you the chance, if you become part of the Front Right Massive, yeah, to come and be on the podcast and play your tunes out on the podcast. And we are absolutely delighted to have our patron on the line, Anthony. Anthony, how's it going?
How's things?
I'm good, thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
No, it's
not a problem. It's your privilege. Your privilege to be a Patreon member to the On the Rave podcast, part of the Front Right Massive.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And hey, the shows that we did originally with our two they were so well prescribed to as well.
Yeah.
Very well prescribed to. They were. So, for anyone who doesn't know a little bit about you, do you want to talk a little bit about what you do in life and then your history in rave?
Yes, my name is Anthony. I'm a mortgage advisor. I run my own little business and have done for 11 years. Not retired from raving, really, because I think we went to the Res a few years back and
certainly did. We
really enjoyed that. It was incredible, wasn't it?
It was what a belter night. Cold as fuck, but you know.
The cold was pretty good because it sobered you up.
Aye. Walking outside and say, I'm gonna go and check out M Zone and all that. Oh shit, it's cold. Yeah. Oh, like the worst part about it was they only had the bar in the other shed, so you're down the front. It was just like, I need a beer. Oh shit, I need a beer, don't I?
All the way to the other shed.
All the way
around the massive queuing system they had in to pay for.
And there was nobody in the queues either.
No.
You always walk straight through that huge queuing system to be in front of the bar.
That's it. I'm sure they were just trying to sober all up by making them backwards and forwards, meandering like a small river.
I always used the opportunity to go to the Portaloos for some party powder.
Is that what you used?
That's what I did. That's what I did on the way back.
That's not what porta potties are for, Addie.
All right, I used the opportunity for a party poo.
For a party poo.
So yes, I've got 2 children now, and I've got them very into music and parties. And every Friday at our house is party night.
Nice. With
lights. We even turned the garden into a full-on party zone with all different lights. And I think my little girl will be just as crazy as I am. And she hits 16. She's on the right path.
Next rave generation.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, that's it. We've got to know there's going to be people listening to the podcast in the future.
Yeah, we're all great.
Yeah, and we actually have big, long, even longer white beards, maybe.
I don't think I can grow a beard. It just goes patchy fluff.
I'll look like the old granddad guy from Donkey Kong. You know, the white beard like coming off the end, like Cranky Kong or something, shaking away with me double sticks. Cool. Well, there we go. There's a nice little intro into the podcast. Let's crack on and get some questions on, and let's talk a little bit about early influences. So, when you were younger, who was the one listening to music in the house? What was sort of pushed on you? Were people listening to the radio, or did mum or dad have a record collection? What happened with you?
So when we were little, it was my mum. She was very into Michael Jackson. Little did she know what was coming. It was mostly.
We'll go from one podcast to the other. Gary Glitter straight to Michael Jackson. Dance to dance.
Wow,
it's going to be Ian Watkins from Lost Prophets next time.
Oh dear me, we'll definitely get this off by playing Eden Lost Prophets.
Yeah.
Like, we managed a full 90 seconds on YouTube last time, guys.
Yeah.
90 seconds, banned in the UK.
3 copyright strikes in 90 seconds.
Hunt was so pleased with himself,
Yes,
wasn't he?
he was.
He was very pleased that he got pulled. That's one of the quickest and most unanimous pulls I've had on YouTube in ages.
So yeah, so it was mostly Michael Jackson. It was records, just records, bad. I can remember Off the Wall, Thriller, and then it was Jackson and Motown, and that was pretty much, you know, all I can remember really about. She loved that, so it was just a constant theme in the background of our house.
So that was always Michael Jackson. Then. And what were you one of these impersonators that would try and sing in the high pitch, or were you one of the dancers that would just flail around pretending you were wearing the white gloves?
Oh, do the moonwalk.
Touching yourself and going,
Socks on the line. Moonwalk.
Yes, socks on the line.
Definitely remember the moonwalk.
I can remember trying it and going flying over the edge of a fucking sofa or something like that. But I best remember about the moonwalk. Although I did once, a true story, I did once play the bass to Billie Jean in like a production at college when I was doing music at college.
Oh, yeah.
And at the point I just had it in my head that I was a reincarnation of Jim Morrison, and that we'd done really, really bad in all of our auditions, and all of our practices were done really, really bad. So on the day of the performance, I decided to slip myself a Harvard tab and went into a really colourful arena to try and perform. And we won Battle of the Bands that night. I was the lead singer / bass player and did a rendition of Billie Jean, singing all the high parts and playing the slap bass. Couldn't see anything but a sea of colour in front of us while we did it.
Take the nerves away via the medium of acid.
It took something away. Definitely took something away. Like. And left something else. So is there anyone else other than Michael Jackson you remembered in your mum's record collection?
It was mostly Motown. So as I say, it was Janet Jackson, I think Luther Vandross, possibly. It was all that kind of Jackson 5. So that was pretty much
road music.
Yeah. Just
all she listened to be fair.
Just solid 60s and 70s affair, wasn't it? That's
like,
when
we used to read Smig and Fun Size Johnny used to do Sundays at, what was it called at the time? They used to have all the porn on the walls. Next door to the central station, little bar
next to Central Station, porn on the walls. Not still drawing up.
No. And it was in there. We used to play every Sunday night, and our first hour was always just a Motown hour where we'd just like bash out loads of old hits.
Well, you got to think they're the ones that drag the people to the dance floors, especially in that area of town.
It is
like in that area of town, you will get people interested and down to have a flop about and a mince on the dance floor. So, of all of these Michael Jackson tracks, is there one that stands out that you'd like to play for the Ravers?
Yeah, it was the one, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. I think that was the one that kind of stuck in my mind the most when I was thinking back at that time in my life.
Cool, let's get it on then.
Power is the first of all.
Well, that was Michael Jackson. Don't stop till he has enough. And he never stopped till he had enough. He was a proper little dirty nonce, wasn't he?
Well,
He was flinging his Jesus juice to all the kids that would have it.
well, Addy, didn't sit on your fence. Let the Ravers know your opinion, lad.
Musical genius, but it doesn't mean he didn't diddle kids.
Oh, this is it. The same could be said about Rolf Harris.
Possibly monkeys.
Definitely. He's a proper rocket. Australia was glad to get rid of him.
Wait.
Did you know that Rolf Harris competed in the Olympics? He was Olympian, Rolf Harris.
Rolf Harris was, what did he do?
He was a swimmer in the Olympics.
No.
I'm telling you, Rolf Harris is an Olympian.
No,
Really? It is. Swear down.
I won't believe these little, like, because all these people who go and do the Olympics end up with a little Olympic tattoo. Where's his little Olympic tattoo, rolleroo? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, that's what I want to know about that one. Well, Addy's thumbing through Google, as always, to try and prove himself right. Let's move on to finding your own feet. So, after the music that was forced on you by the LPs of your mother and the mountains and mountains of PVC-clad Michael Jackson, what did you start listening to when you started discovering music for yourself?
So when I was thinking about this, I couldn't overly remember when I actually got into music itself, because one thing we used to always just play football, and one thing that kind of dug into my mind is I think when we first started going to house parties, when we started getting a little bit older and hearing, I think it was KLF. The alternate one, human resource, all that kind of stuff. And it kind of resonated with me a little bit. I think it was just a little bit certainly different from what I'd heard growing up. So definitely got my imagination sparked and got me more into music from that point onwards.
Yeah, those house parties are some really good places for getting into for getting into the music and stuff like that. So who was it just anyone's house party, or can you name names? Is someone going to get in the bother of a man for that broken vase in 1980?
It was generally just going through school, and as I say, as you get older and there's a house, and there's one particular party I can remember going round to, and it was funny because all the lights were off and they had people dancing all over the place, and it was just something about that particular night which made me think about dance music and kind of lit a switch, I suppose, if you like, and got me more interested from that point onwards.
And amongst the acts, as you said,
alternate, there's human resource and the like of that. What specific tracks from these artists? Obviously, Dominator was big at the time.
Yes, definitely that. The alternate one to kind of definitely. I remember that one. I remember listening to KLF. Would I have been around about 14 at that time? Yeah, I would guess so. Around about 14. Many, it's terrifying to think how long ago that actually was, to be fair.
Yeah, well, I remember, I was going to bring this up on a show a while ago. I remember I must have been still at school when I first heard Alternates in the charts, showing how old you are, Mark Archer. I remember going to the DIY shop and painting some some dust masks and trying to put a really shit A on the front. So it's like, it was very, very poor attempt. I had a yellow dust mask, but it was a really, really shit fucking 8 on it, like.
Hey, and now you've got Instagram filters for that sort of
I know,
thing?
you can just do it straight away. I think that's my Instagram filter today. Who'd have thunk it? All those years ago when I was penning ink on dust masks that I'd have me on, I wouldn't have to do it.
Right,
the shaman. I was remember the shaman.
Yeah, you talk, and there's some fucking belters, weren't there?
Yeah.
They could move any mountain.
Move any mountain. What was the other one?
Ebenezer good, wasn't it?
Love, Sex, Intelligence.
Ebenezer good.
Oh yeah, Ebenezer good as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody got any Veras? Yeah, I do love a bit of that. Like, and they're proper house party tunes. But I see you've gone for one of the favourites of the podcast. You've gone for Alternate. Do you want to introduce the track for everyone?
Yeah, the one for my early finding my own feet would be Alternate. Activate. Come with me.
You hear that, man? You hear that, mother? Get mental in the house!
There you go, Ravers. A little bit of tasty alternate for you. A bit of Activate Come With Me. Addie's ABCs of Rave.
And it was
It was
very, let's start at the very beginning.
It's a very good place to start, and Alternate's a very good place to
Yeah,
start.
and remember, if you want to listen to the On the Rave radio show, you can tune in with the millions and millions of Method Radio maniacs out there. Second Tuesday of every month, I popped up.
He has.
I've been holding that back all week.
Oh. And it'll go live on Podbean as well at the end of each month. So
And the last show's going out today.
it's going out recording day to day. It is, yeah.
Yeah.
The very first one that we did, and the second one's already in the bag. So
Yeah.
just keep an eye out for more On the Rave radio show going forward on Method Radio. Speaking of raves, crack on with section 3, Addie.
That's a good segue.
A good little segue.
It's the first rave memory, Gav.
So, do you specifically remember the very first rave that you went to?
Oh, is it a hazy mess?
No, I can remember it very well. I can always remember, obviously grew up in concert. As
Really?
you know, concert's a phenomenal little place with a lot of quirks.
Yes,
Um,
characters. We're doing characters.
and I can always remember trying to get into the bars and around concert and in some of the clubs with some of the lads up, and just, do you know what? It was possibly the dullest, saddest existence you could ever imagine. The thought of just spending the rest of my days going drinking in these pubs and sitting there until I couldn't remember my name. So, to be honest, as I was growing up, that kind of thought of going out was rather depressing. And I got invited one night to go to the venue in Spennymoor
Oh, yes.
by some lads from college. Started at 10 o'clock at night and finished at 10 the next morning, which I did find rather confusing. Anyway, I can remember when I first walked into that place and it just felt different. I think from the disappointment of having my eyes open to what could be a life of just going to pubs and then walking down some steps and open some doors into a big club and seeing the lights and the sounds, I definitely something, felt quite special about that whole thing. Yeah, so even though it was in Spennymoor, and to be fair, it was a bit of a dump in reality. And
Yes. Go back, you'll find that most clubs in the daylight without doing are absolute shitholes.
Oh, just, yeah, the places to behold the most. I mean, even the Cooperage, when the sound system wasn't loaded in
Yeah.
and all the weird lights were on, and you could see all the warps in the floor, like, and you could see, when something moved, and you could see all the dust coming down from the
Yeah.
from all the panels and in the ceiling and that. Like, it's good memories.
Good memories, but still,
Yeah.
places are shitholes when they're empty,
Yeah.
but they're magical places when they're full.
honestly, when those doors opened, it was like an absolute playground. You just, you felt so lucky to actually go into somewhere like that and be part of that.
Yeah.
And I think I left there just after 9 o'clock in the morning. I can remember sitting on the back steps at home in shock, looking up at the clouds, thinking, "What's just happened?" And I never looked back. I went every night for 2 years from that point onwards, every Saturday night for 2 years.
Amazing.
Loved every one of them.
Oh, that's good.
So what tunes were they playing at the venue at that time?
What year
When
were
you
we
look
talking?
back,
Oh, do you
it
have
was-
any idea what year we were talking?
I was 16.
Could people still smoke in the club?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to cover up the smell of fart.
Yes.
So it would have been, 93 roundabout then, potentially. So, yeah, I mean, it was just such a brilliant, to be honest, I look back at that time, it was something special, to be fair. One funny thing I remember is I came down with glandular fever. I was really, really unwell, bedridden all week. Got to Saturday and I was still in bed and thinking, I'm going to miss my first night. It got to about 9 o'clock and I made a phone call to get a lift and I ended up going down. And I think it was maybe 2, 3 in the morning. And the next thing I knew, I was standing at the top of the stairs looking at my own body lying on the floor. trying to work out what was actually going on. And at that point, I worked out the antibiotics. And the fact that I was so unwell, this wasn't a good idea. And I think I got took out and put in the back of a car and slept the whole night away. But I would have rather actually made that trip down than miss Saturday night. That's how into it I was at that time.
It's what people need at the minute as well. It's just those little reminders of
better
things
times
that-
when we could rave and play and be merry.
Remember
with
being
friends.
able to roll around on the floor at the bottom of a flight of stairs?
I know.
Can't remember the last time I fell drunk on a flight of stairs.
Those were the days.
Oh yeah,
Those were the
all
days.
those bumps and bruises.
I'll always remember the day it burned down as well. I got a phone call in the morning just saying that, you know, it's burned down. And I was genuinely devastated, to be fair, because that was the end of an era, which was never repeated, to be fair. So that was the end. I tried the Coliseum. It was pure hell on earth. Yeah, it nearly put me off, to be fair. And then I was lucky enough to find Judgment Day. And yeah, I think that started at 7 o'clock or something, and we went on about 2.
You can get away with it being really early because at the start it was over 18s, but it went under 16, like over 16s at a certain point, and they stopped serving booze. So it was always quite early starts.
Did people have
One of the wildest nights there.
They just stopped serving.
no booze?
Yeah, so I'd be like the king of there because I'd just wander around with cans because I was always backstage. Like, I just remember coming out, stumbling out of the back room, out in the crowd, because you weren't allowed to even take booze out into the crowd.
Oh shit!
And security, like, oh, take that off you, lad. And then some kids laughing, and I just went, back pocket, pulled another can out. How you doing? And walked away again.
Like you, man. Not the habitual line stepper that is DJ Tinker UAP. Make as he goes. So there's some really nice memories of a dank and dirty club. Is there any track in particular you'd like to play that puts the memories of that place in you?
Yeah, definitely. I think when I look back, I mean, there's so many, to be fair, but Love for Sale, Do You Feel So Right was one that stood out as something that was kind of stuck in your head for days after being out that night.
Absolutely class tune, and one of the first records I ever bought properly.
Spot on. You can see the smile right across Anthony's
Yes.
face there, like just thinking about it, and goosebumps and arms in the air, and just like yeah, like all about it, all about that moment. Let's get full of it. So this is Love for Sale. Do You Feel So Right?
That was a little bit of love for sale. Do you feel so right? Do you feel so right, Gav?
I do. I feel so right today that that even the biggest and most left-handed of things could not hold me down ever. I reckon.
Well, that's good.
Oh, that's the way I'm going. That's the way I see it. In any case, let's crack on into section 4. Section 4 is when we talk about festival fever. So, do you like a little bit of outdoor noise? Is festival your sort of bag?
It's not something I've done very much of recently, to be fair. I think when I was trying to think of festivals that we went to, not many rave festivals. We went to Creamfields a few times when it was averagely okay. I think 98 to 2000, when it was, I think it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon till something ridiculous the next day. So that was before it went ridiculous. I think it's now over a certain amount of days. But yeah, I remember doing Creamfields. It was awful, to be fair. I didn't. It's just too bloody long, and I was getting too old. I needed to go to sleep.
So what
Carl
was
Cox was good.
the one who's always got away from me? I've never seen Carl Cox.
Yeah.
So what was the thing that broke the camel's straw? Like for just wanting to be out of there. I don't do well with the cold, and I don't do well with sleeping in tents anymore. I used to just not be bothered, but now I just don't like sleeping in tents. It feels like the walls are closing in behind us.
I love living in my own filth for a few days.
Yes. I've seen them.
Creamfields was good. Creamfields was good during the day when the sun was up, but once it started getting dark, it was getting to midnight. And yeah, it just didn't have the same feel. But I think, when the big DJs are on in the big tents, that kind of takes away. But once they're finished and you're back out in the cold, you just think, get me back on that bus and get me home.
Yeah. Looking for just wherever you can squeeze into the warm out of the wind to see what's on here. Reggae, aye, that'll do. Anything to get out of the wind.
Try not to step on people.
Yeah. Do you have any good memories of festivals, though? I mean, obviously, you're talking about like full tents and Carl Cox. Is there anyone you've seen that might turn ahead?
Well, when I was 40, so my 40th birthday, my wife gave me an envelope for my big present. I was rather curious to see what it is. When I opened it up, it was tickets for Dominator at 40.
Nice.
Kind of thought 20 years too late, simply, but we went to Dominator back in 2017, me and 2 friends. One of them who believed it was hard trance and house music.
He was a big shock, wasn't he?
Clearly done his research.
Look,
and tried to warn him on the plane that this is not what he thinks it is. But he was adamant that he checked up on it, and that's what it was. Trance. Wrong on every level.
Did he have a good time still?
No, he didn't. I think it was one of the worst experiences of his life.
Traumatized by Dominator.
There was literally no escape from one arena to the other. It just got harder.
It's pretty just hard all across the board.
Yeah, I think we went to Hong Kong violence area. Just wild. Just literally, you could see him dying in his eyes. But for me and my mate, who we knew what we were going to, the whole thing was just the most phenomenal production, organisation. It was just incredible, to be honest.
They do it very big.
Yeah, really special, really special. I mean, I think the organisation and just there was just something different about it, and the production of the stages and the coordination. It was just really, really good. One regret I've got from that is not being able to get in and see Paul Elstack, because Paul Elstack was on.
At least you got to see them.
Yeah, that was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
That was definitely a lights on moment of the day ahead. But yeah, so Dominator, phenomenal. Just and the end shows. I mean, the way they do the end shows with all the fireworks and everything, spectacular.
with all the fire show and the ladies angle grinding on themselves and like
Yeah.
they really go big at the very end of those shows. Like
Yeah.
we know from the Dutch
Yeah.
festivals that
Yes.
we've done. Like, so was there anyone who stood out, maybe particular from that trip to Dominator who you'd like to
You
hear a track
obviously
from?
you heard you were speaking about the Hong Kong violence, like so was it Kira or someone like that?
I don't know what it was. To be honest, it was just fear and terror when we got towards it. Simon just said, no, that's not happening. I was curious to know what was going on because it looked like a cracking setup inside, to be fair. But yeah, the terror that was on his face was definitely too much for him. But something else, something very special. And I think really there's a little town called, it's in Ursel, and we stayed there the night before. We went out and had nice food, nice drinks. My mate ended up having maybe 4 bottles of red. Tried to walk to Eindhoven, fell asleep in a hall and couldn't get back into the hotel. The cleaning staff let him in at about 6:15, and then they threatened to throw him out because he's covered in red teeth with all the red wine, screaming and shouting to be allowed in. I got him into our room and said, "You need to sober up." So he says, "I'm going to finish this half a bottle of red and I'll have my breakfast and I'll be good to go."
Oh, yeah.
At that point, I just cut him loose and just sent him away.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. It's just like Addie had a bang face. When he keeps talking about dog cocks, all you got to do is give him a pie and some gravy and just send him back
to
off.
bed.
Yeah, just send him back off. So yeah, is there one track that you think would represent this trip to Dominator?
It'll be the anthem from that particular headline, which was Mad Dog and Maze of Martyr.
Oh, yeah. Sickening. So let's get a bit of Mad Dog on for everyone.
Labyrinth lay hidden to be discovered. Enter a world of pure misery. We challenge you to step into the horrific maze of Martyr.
No one can restrain us, nobody can stop us. The ones and the only, the dominators, hard to the core, still will meet our creator. Blood on the walls, the slow escape. We're not afraid, we dominate. We are.
There's a little bit of proper manic mad dog for everyone. That was Mason Martyr.
From Dominator 2017, Gav.
Yeah, memories of Dominator, memories of Holland, and memories
Nightmares for Simon.
Yeah. Simon, we definitely will never get a job working as a researcher. Let's crack on and move on to section 5 of the podcast, which is my favorite part, which is the shared discoveries. So everyone's off in their own little musical world, and sometimes we hear and enjoy artists that we think don't get enough love, and we like to highlight those people on the show.
We do.
Is there anywhere? He's from
Ashton.
Heard of a shouldn't know some Asian.
Get some ham dips and some candy flakes.
Yeah.
Work the dig.
Work the dig. Is there anyone out there who you don't think gets enough love, and you'd like to spread a little more via the medium of podcast raviness?
So there's a couple of people that I'm listening to at the minute, and one's called Steve Bone. He's a saxophonist, and he goes live on a Friday night on Facebook at 6 o'clock, and he plays saxophone over tunes, and he's brilliant. He is phenomenal. On Facebook, Steve Bone.
Steve Bone.
If you go onto his Facebook page and look at the video that he did at a wedding, it's just incredible. Just what a talent to play the saxophone whilst jumping around and partying like that. It is definitely something special.
Any instrument like that you've got to put so much effort into playing, like a saxophone, to try and do it and move around at the same time. Like, I know,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it boggles my.
And not smash anybody in the face.
I don't understand how they haven't smashed their own fucking front teeth out. Like that's like. I'm awkward enough to walk into doors when I haven't got my glasses on. I can't imagine the lack of coordination. I'd have my front teeth, they'd be gone. They'd be absolutely gone. I'd actually be like the gums guy on the South Park. Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Bleeding Gums Murphy. Simpsons,
not South Park. It's got South Park on the right.
And I think the main shared discovery would be a DJ called Mark Plum. He was introduced to me in April of the first lockdown by a friend. So he started streaming in his bedroom on a Saturday night to maybe, less than 100 people. He streamed every Saturday since up until I think about October last year. He's now up to about 1,900 people in a group that he's got. He's now on Play DJ, which is another platform where he streams there every 2 weeks from Cyprus. But he's built a chat room up of all different people who have got to know each other through the chat room. And it becomes a bit of a party on a Saturday night, which is something special, I think, in these times.
It's nice, isn't it, to have that sense of community without being in without being in a social setting. You're in the setting of your own living room, but these people are bringing together these really nice and really positive communities of people trying to help each other doing things. It's like what we keep saying about the Ravers, sharing tracks with and stuff like that. Like it just
builds.
It does, it builds. Hey, and you just wait until later. We said that Dave hadn't said anything, and by gum, Dave said a lot.
Dave the Rave hit me up on every platform ever, all at once.
And he's got so many
messages.
Got so many Dave the Rave bits to come out with. So cool. You've gone for. Is this one of his tracks from a stream that you saw?
I think he's just he's a DJ. So I think this is one that kind of sticks out as a real positive one, which lifts so many people on a Saturday night when we're all doing shots and being encouraged to drink more.
Spot on. Well, let's go for your selection, which is called Hyper Go Go High. Section 6 of the On the Rave podcast is the moment where I gracefully ask the man to my left to set the scene.
You and Simon have made your way past the bouncers that dominator talking to you, didn't mumble Dutch. Have you got anything? Do you want to go with the amnesty bin? Dutch as you go, no, I'm English, you bundle past, but you get in. You open up, there's a world of wonder in front of you and a world of terror in Simon's eyes. And as you venture deep into the Hong Kong violence tents, the DJ plays the best record that you've ever heard in your life. Are you hands in the air or are you screw facing down?
Screw facing down.
Yes!
We've got a screw face. We do love a bit of a screw face.
It's been a while since we've had a screw face.
It is, yeah, it is. It genuinely has been a while since we've had a true screw face. So is it always screw face for you, or are there moments when your hands in the air, or are you one of those gritting your teeth, punching towards the floor?
I think when it's a good thumping tune and it hits you, I think that's definitely a screw face moment. And they're the best, and that's what I think.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's
Definitely.
are there any, apart from the tune that you've picked here, are there any other songs that just do that to you, that just go wah and click you straight into screw face mode?
Listen to Neophyte. I think it's Brain Cracker.
Brain Cracker, what a tune.
Yeah. Some Death Chant. Those kind of thumping in your face tunes are the ones that, personally for me, hit the spot, to be fair.
Yeah, there's some good collections right there.
We love a little bit of a screw face on the podcast.
I do. I'm just burping and doing things. This got me gassy as out.
We have got some gassy go faster juice on the go, and it's making Addie have those tiny little distracting nose burps that he keeps hiding his face from. I know you just can't hear him hiding his face. I just keep second guessing his little tinker smile hidden behind his little t-shirt.
I think when you think of screw face, I think one of the things that kind of makes me think of that is the Judgment Days. Is when
Most
there's a big
definitely
PA
hard and heavy.
Yeah. There's nothing better than that thumping bass. Just it just to make you feel alive. And they're definitely the moments for me which would stick out as highlights of the night.
I totally agree with you. Those little personal moments you have to yourself when you're enjoying it so much that you just put that screw face on and, as I say,
just go for it.
Just go for it. Have a nice inward moment. Cool. So do you want to play an example of a song that would do that to you? And we'll let all the commenters know. Let all know whether or not Anthony's choice of track makes you fling your arms in the air or puts a screw face on you. I think haven't seen the selection and know what's going to happen to the majority of you, but just let me know in the comments down below whether or not you were arms in the air or screw facing for the choice of track. And Anthony, the track you've chose is
And your man.
When me a murder son, me no play no girl too. When me a murder son, me no play no girl too. Bada pull up. 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 When me a murder son, me no play no girl too. When me a murder son, me no play no girl too.
There you go, DJ Roughneck. A little bit of Ganja Man being played out. That's for the Arms in the Air Screwface
on the fantastic Roughneck Records.
Don't forget to tell what it did to you, whether it made you.
It's definitely Screwface.
Fling those
definitely Screwface.
I'd say so. I think we're going to get a majority Screwface fall on this particular section of the podcast.
I'd say 100%.
You're saying 100%?
In fact, I'll say 101.
And I know that we've got coy people listening, so hopefully someone will be out there going, "No, Addie, I'm going against you, Addie."
Well, you could say that, but you'd be wrong.
Of course, Addie being the almanac of rave knowledge that he. That
if you look up in the dictionary of rave, Screwface is a picture of DJ Roughneck, and that's 100. It says 101% Screwface bagger.
There we go. Section 7 of the On the Rave podcast is the dedication section. This is the moment when we are offering our guests the time to play a track out for anyone, for any reason. Is there someone out there who you would like to play a track for? Who is that person, and what track would you like to dedicate them?
So I would say it's my long-suffering wife, Michelle Cook, and at 2 Funk 2, Brothers and Sisters.
Banging tune, that like it's piano house classic.
Cool. Well, let's keep it short and sweet and get a little bit of 2 Funk 2 on.
Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, I want to see your hands out there. I want everybody to kick up some noise.
You're the best thing. I will always need you. You're the best thing. I will always need you. You're the best thing.
I want to see your hands out there. I want everybody to kick up some noise. Brothers and sisters, I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it. Brothers and sisters, I want to see it. I want to see it. Brothers and sisters, I want to see your hands out there.
I will always need you. You mean the world to me. Let's stay together, baby. Together we'll be free. I will always need you. You mean the world to me. Let's stay together, baby. Together we'll be free.
Brothers and sisters, I want to see it. Brothers and sisters, I want to see it. Brothers and sisters, I want to see your hands out there.
I will always need you. You mean the world to me. Let's stay together, baby. Together we'll be free. I will always need you. You mean the world to me. Let's stay together, baby. Together we'll be free. You're the best thing. I will always need you. You're the best thing. I will always need you.
Brothers and
You're the
sisters,
best thing.
I want to see your
I
hands out
will
there.
always
I want
need
everybody to
you.
kick up some noise. Brothers and sisters, I want to see it. Brothers and sisters, I want to see it. Brothers and sisters, I want to see your hands out there.
I will always need you. You mean the world to me. Let's stay together, baby. best thing. I will always need you. You're the best thing. I will always need you.
Brothers and sisters,
So I think one of the big things from our long-suffering wife is I just wanted to put this on her just to lift the spirits. She's currently working in ITU, looking after COVID patients, and is in real hard times at the moment. And I think we all have an obligation to make sure that we do the right thing and try and protect our nurses, because they're battling for us every day. And yeah, I see it in her eyes every day when she comes home, how much she's given to try and save people and send people home. And yeah, so it's for my wife and all her colleagues.
A lot of what goes on behind closed doors of the NHS is not given nowhere near the praise that it should get, especially in times like this. I'm high risk. I'm supposed to be shielding because I'm diabetic and I've got a pagged immune system from years and years of pickling it with amphetamines, I might add. But you know, this is why my immune system doesn't work, and in particular, like, and I've got, it's like people ringing us to check on us. All right, Gav, is your mental health all right? Is your diabetes all right? And they're doing a cracking job at what they're doing with very little praise. So I think playing a tune for them on a podcast is a lovely, lovely little way.
Lovely gesture.
It is. It's a lovely gesture.
It's definitely better than banging pots and pans outside my house.
It is.
It's like Boris's Blackbook era's patronising cunt.
I'll clap for fucking him. I'll clap him all the way out. Get out. Fucking get in. See. Silly bastard. Let's crack on. Well, speaking of fucking boorish bastards with their guilty pleasures, let's crack on and talk about
Guilty pleasures.
Guilty pleasures. So, where do you lie when it comes to guilty pleasures? Is it something that you believe in? Do you think guilty pleasures are a thing? Or are you one of these that just owns all the music they listen to, as in you don't give a flying monkey if people know that you're listening to this artist?
Yeah, I don't really care if people know that I listen to them. I think sometimes I was looking at this and I had Coldplay down. Which
Jesus.
Is a controversial selection, but you know, we've had some fantastic nights watching Coldplay live. Listening to them and watching them live is two very different things. But Baby Shambles, Libertines, I think some of the wildest nights out me and my wife have ever had. And I'm told so anyway, because we can't remember a lot of them. We're going to watch Baby Shambles live or Libertines, and it's that. Yeah, I don't think Baby Shambles, and certainly Pete Doherty, is a good guy. But I think from a live perspective and from a night out perspective for us, we've had some fantastic times watching these.
So I was at Glastonbury one year, and we just went off on a silly adventure. And basically, I saw this really gaunt white guy stumbling through the crowd with like a
Wasn't Simon, was it?
with a mud hand bra on, so that obviously had their hands in the muck and like did a muck hand bra like Sable in the wrestling.
Yes.
And had a muck hand bra on. And I looked over and I was like, look at the kip in him. And he was floating through the festival looking like, you know, that episode of The Simpsons where Mr. Burns is absolutely whacked and he looks like the alien. He's like, he like floated through the crowd. And then 2 seconds later, there was two, and I mean hulking security guards walking just behind them. And it turns out it was Doherty wandering through the crowds, literally with two security guards walking a few feet behind him to stop him from falling, but he pulled that to himself. Like, and I just remember stopping and having a surreal moment thinking, you know what, I'm a bit mashed, but he looks in a much worse state than me. He's got those two massive hulking security. Like, imagine having them follow when you were just there to have a little bit of fun. You're wearing a mud bikini and you're trolloping around the stages late at night with two muckle security guards being your shadow.
It's memories for the best.
Possibly, like, Lord knows what he would have got up to in any case. So
I remember twice we went.
Twice you went.
We went to see him twice, and the first time I can remember me and my wife doing loads of shots, really, enjoying our day. And then all of a sudden it was the next day, totally white, no memory at all of the night, which I was a bit disappointed. So we drove to Manchester to do it again and repeated the process. Literally. I just don't know what it is about those nights and the need to do as many shots as physically possible before you actually get to the venue. But they definitely bring back some funny memories and bad hangovers as well, but definitely worth it.
That's fine, cool. So, is there one song in particular by the Baby Shambles you'd like to play out for the Ravers?
I've put Albion, so I think that was one of the highlights of the night.
Spot on. Well, let's, I think for the first time, play Albion by the Baby Shambles.
Down in Albion, they're black and blue, but we don't talk about that. Are you from round here? How do you do? I'd like to talk about that. Talk over gin and teacups, leaves on the lawn, violence at bus stops, and a pale girl with eyes below. No gin and teacups and leaves on the lawn, violence in dog queues, and a pale thin girl behind the checkout. If you're looking for a cheap song, set a false anticipation, I'll be waiting in the photo booth at the underground station. So come away, come away, we could go to Deptford, Catford, or Watford, or Digbeth, Mansfield, anywhere I'll be on. Anywhere I'll be on. Anywhere I'll be on. Yellow classics and cannons at dawn, Codwallers and Pitfall medicine and English sun. Reebok classics and cannons at dawn, terrible warlords, good warlords, and English song. If you're looking for a cheap sort of glint with perspiration, there's a 4-mile queue outside the disused power station. Now, come away, or say you'll come away, go to Satchel, Stamford, Warville, Wimborne, Newcastle. If you are looking for a cheap toggins with perspiration, there's a 5-mile queue outside the disused power station. Now come away, won't you come away? Go to Bextown, Oldham, Dunthorpe, Waltham, Bristol, anywhere I'll be on. Anywhere I'll be on. Anywhere I'll be on. Anywhere I'll be on.
On the Ravers, proudly sponsored by Xpress Lifestyle Solutions.
Whether it's mortgages or insurance, Xpress Lifestyle Solutions can make a difference. There we go, and there's a little bit of Baby Shambles, I think, for the very first time on the On The Rave podcast
Oh,
being
yes.
played out.
It's not very ravey, so ravey, but we have got shows that aren't ravey, like Cunt in the Gang.
Yeah, that's it. And as we just pointed out, it could be worse. It could have been Daddy Flippin' Glitter.
I know.
Yeah, so, or the wrong Ian Watkins.
Yes.
And it could have been that poor bastard from Steps who probably got a lot of abuse.
He did. He got tons.
Yeah, he would have got a lot of abuse. We're getting through this podcast, Addy. We're through to section 9, and I believe it is the time when
it's 2 to 1.
It's 2 to 1.
That was poor.
He
That was very
absolutely
poor.
he never gets bored of it. Yeah, this is the kind of moment. So for the GOAT moment, you've decided to step in and choose 2 people. Why is it you've gone for this section for your GOAT? Is it because you couldn't separate them, or
Yeah, massively. Yeah, both phenomenal, both great memories,
cool? Let's
and
talk.
both consistent.
Consistent is definitely a word I would use up there to look at these 2 artists. Like, so let's go with the first artist. So what is it about this first artist that made you want to pedestal them? And I think it's for maybe the 4th or 5th time someone's picked this
Yes,
particular
definitely. And he's been in a couple of in the same segment.
artist. Yeah, I think he's been the GOAT a few times. I mean, this is 43?
Yes.
43. This is episode 43, and he's come up enough times. So, yeah, what is it about this in particular artist that makes you class him as the greatest of all time?
Going back to Judgment Days, I think when he appeared at Judgment Day, it was literally the highlight, I think, of Judgment Day, full stop, to be fair, whenever he played.
Yes.
The whole place was just electric, and it was guaranteed every time, without fail, that he would do that to the room. And I don't think he's really changed at all.
I've never seen this guy play a bad set, and he's not like, I'm into my jungle, I'm into my more broken stuff than I'm into my hard stuff. But many a time I've been in the crowd while this guy's playing, and he just never lets you down. It's just he's Ron Seal, and he always looks like he's up for it, and he always looks like he's having fun, which I think it goes a long way with people when they're performing in front of you, doesn't it?
I wish I knew the podcast that he was on, but he was on like a long form podcast where someone interviewed him, deep dived interview him, and talked about everything from the very start of his career. It's one of the best podcasts I've ever heard. It's absolutely phenomenal. I wish I knew where you could find it now, but I definitely don't. I'll if I hunt it out, I'll post it on the page, because it's a absolutely fascinating journey. I think it's on for like 2 hours as well. It's
Right.
The amount of stuff that I learned just off that podcast was just amazing. Absolutely incredible.
He played Helter Skelter, and I think the set he did with Helter Skelter was just incredible.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of always a hard and fast producer, HMS, Loft Groover, really full on speed, and then he kind of came and just played these consistent, hard industrial stints. Yeah, it was something else, that set. I think the only time I was a little bit marginally disappointed with him, and it's not his fault, I think, was at the Res. I wished when he was at the Res, he was just on his own, as opposed to back. It was a Frankie Bones.
It was a very funny set. It just seemed to jump in tempo and style like all the way through. It seems there was 3 tunes, so then they would jump to something else and then jump to something else.
Yeah, not what you were looking for. Not what I was looking forward to.
Frankie Bones, that was it.
Techno-y, wasn't it? And
yeah.
But I was kind of looking forward to the old style, in keeping with the Res. But that being said, as I say, he is just something special, to be fair. And
legend.
Yeah, spot on. Well, for anyone who hasn't guessed at the back who we're talking about, we're on about the legend that is Lenny D. And I believe the track that you've chosen to play is the absolute banger that goes by Getting Lost.
That was Lenny D with Forgotten Moments on Industrial Strength. And also check out the Fidian remix. Absolutely the only person in the world that can probably do the original justice. Mr. Fidian, absolute legend as well.
Spot on. And as I said, that's one part of the GOAT.
It's a 2 in a 1.
It's a 2 in a 1. So there's another artist that's been picked here. Do you want to talk a little bit about why you've picked this artist as your GOAT?
So Neophyte, just exactly the same. I think, just consistent performer, full on sets from start to finish. We watched him at Res. That was phenomenal. I think what was the most fascinating part about Neophyte's set at the Res was when he's trying to open a bottle of Grey Goose and couldn't quite grasp how to open it. And I think he spent a good 15 minutes trying to get the top off. And the puzzlement on his face was hilarious. He managed it at the end, poor thing. I was going to help him. But yeah, he is just something else when he plays. I think I just looked there before it, a set which he did with, have a quick, there was the Roughneck DJ Squad back in '97. And yeah, I'm sure I can't remember the night, but I can guarantee it was good.
There's definitely a theme of not remembering nights and knowing it was good.
Hey, if you went out, you wake up, you're hungover, and you've still got a smile on your face, it was a good night.
Yeah.
Like, it was a good night. Until you roll over and see Gav in the bed with you.
So, I think the sad thing about life is you look forward to these big nights, don't you? And you look forward to it and you build it up and you build it up. And then it happens, and then you wake up the next day and you've got no memories of it whatsoever. You kind of scouring your phone for little snippets of it.
Yeah, that's it. Just looking for any little nugget that gives you that tiny shred of nostalgia that made you feel so good the night before.
Yeah.
I saw Prodigy at the Academy, and I couldn't wait to see them. I was literally chomping at the bit to see them. I thought it was, it was going to be the best night ever. And I literally woke up the next day. I can remember doing shots of tequila and then walking up to the Academy. And then I've got on my phone about 2 minutes of them when they're waiting to come on. They come on, everybody cheers. The phone starts to jump up and down, and then it ends, and there's no other footage of the whole night.
It's because your phone is where it should be. Your fucking
All memories.
Yeah, that's it. It should be in your fucking pocket, man. I'm one of these types that at one point I used to just try and take so many photos, and I missed raves by doing it. So I elected to not take photos at raves, and like I still say the same thing. I'm not here to take photos or be in videos. I'm here to make my own memories.
See, I always try to take photos, but there's always photos of the first few hours of parties and then nothing until the last day.
Void.
When you remember,
See, I wonder what 5 pictures.
yeah, 5 pictures all weekend at Lindisfarne. One of them's of Keith. One of them's of something we're not allowed to talk about. Another one that is just a pile of human excrement outside of a Portaloo. Yeah, and it's just the little memories that you don't particularly need, but end up having thrust upon yourself at these dudes. Indeedy do. Let's get a little bit of Neophyte on then. So, what tune have you went for?
Get this motherfucker.
Well, that was a little bit of neophyte. Neophyte and stud, guys. Get this motherfucker.
Hey, we've managed to get through a whole another one of these podcasts. We're all the way through
We're at
section
the
10.
end.
Thank you again to Anthony, who has been our patron.
Patreon.
He's been our patron for a while, and we've just managed to get sorted. He's a busy man. We've got him tied down to sit and talk with her. Remember, if you want to get involved with what we do, if you want to back what we do, you can get us on Patreon, patreon.com/ontherave. You can catch us on all of the social medias, Twitter at ontherave, facebook.com/ontherave.
On the rave.
On the Rave with Addie and Gav on Instagram.
Indeed, where I will be posting shit about raves.
Yeah, that's it. And if you want to go to our home of all bits and pieces, you can find us at ontherave.podbean.com.
It is.
And that is where you can find all of the 70 odd episodes we've got now, Addie.
Fudge me, that's a lot. That's a lot of
The
episodes.
lipsticks, he's getting these
I'm getting ready for. I'm getting ready for the radio show.
He is, yeah. And he's going PG on the radio show. We'll see.
I'll try.
We'll try. Section 10 of the On the Rave podcast is the bit that we refer to as personal anthems. So, was this an easy one? Was it one song that jumped out on you, or was there a little bit of a struggle trying to get one down?
Massive struggle.
Massive struggle.
Lot of
Huge struggle.
So, what could have been here on a different day?
Oh, Death Chant and Mindwinder side A, and also side B. So could not split the two up. So we had Brainwave Live at the Res and Mindwinder, both full on producer tunes. So many.
Yeah, I think they were both by Diplomat.
Yeah, just couldn't. So many good nights with those. Right in the middle of a good night, full on, and brought back so many positive
Good night,
memories.
it was a great night.
Yeah, real struggle, to be fair.
Just making sure I was right about the Diplomat thing.
And he's just always backing himself up. He's just sitting there with his best friend Google, typing in his little pointed fingers, bless him, making sure that he's giving you the right pills, the right little bits. So we talked about the near misses. Give her a reason why this tune was chosen as your personal anthem. What is it that makes the track that you've picked tick?
I think looking back at all the nights that you've had, and the memories, the hazy parts, regardless of how messy the night was, you can kind of always remember when this comes on. It's one of those moments where I don't think you'll ever forget. I think Res, they were phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely. One of the highlights of my night was just saying Die Witness. It just sparked off all of the nostalgia.
Yeah, and that's what it is, nostalgia, isn't it? It kind of, even then, it just triggered everything that you used to have back, in the 90s and things, when you were going out, and you still felt the same. I think, even though you're hearing the track in my age now, I still felt exactly the same in that moment as I did back then.
And this one did everything for us.
Yeah, it's an absolute beast of a track by Die Witness. Like
it is.
Pick, to be fair. Yeah, it's an absolute beast of a track, and I see no better way than tying off the end of the podcast. So, Anthony, thank you very much for spending some time talking to us. But for now, let's put out his personal anthem, and you picked Die Witness.
The Master Plan!
Back in the house for 95. Die Witness and the MC Cyclone. Are you ready for the Master Plan? Let me see your hands in the air out there. This is the master plan in full effect now. Let me hear ya.
You were taught to believe that everyone was created equal in the master plan.
Get it up one time now.
You were taught to believe that everyone was created equal in the master plan.
Wind it up with the master plan. Get it up, kick.
You were taught to believe that everyone was created equal in the master
Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes now. Wind it up, Tommy.
You were taught to believe that everyone was created equal in the master plan.
Hold the beat, stop the beat, drop the beat. One time, right.
You were taught to believe that everyone was created equal in the master plan.
Oh yeah, rocking the house with the master plan.
You were taught to believe that everyone was created equal in the master plan.
Bring it on down because we got you. We control you with the music for your body, your mind, and your soul. And now we gonna generate the energy and get you moving to the beat with the sound of the 303. 'Cause now is the time. This is the place I'm gonna bust this rhyme. I'm gonna get on the case. I got to rock you so hard it'll make your head turn. Time witness, it's time to make the floor burn. Break down. Here it comes now. Here it comes now. Everybody, here it comes now. With the 1, 2, 3, oh 3. Ah yeah. Once again, set your mind free. Boom, shut up, die witness, got the energy. Well, it just goes on and you don't stop. Party people wind it up and keep it going till you drop that. On and you don't stop. Party people wind it up and keep it going till you drop that. On and you don't stop. Party people wind it up and keep it going till you drop that. On and you don't stop. The party people wind it up and keep it going till you drop break. Cut it off now. Let me see your hands out there. I said, let me see your hands out there. Until next time, we out of here. Peace.
There we go, Addie. We've got all the way to another one of these conversations.
We have done it again. And remember, Michelle, Anthony is not boring.
He's not boring.
He's not boring.
No, he's not. Definitely not. He's had us giggling, hasn't he?
He has.
Yeah. Good stories. He was worried that his stories wouldn't be good, but
They were good stories.
I think he's done particularly well.
Yeah,
I think he's done particularly well. And remember, everyone, that if you become a patron, you are offered the opportunity to do
It's
your
pennies.
very own.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just like Nike says, just do it and give us some money on your Patreon, and it helps us pay the bills over here and on the Rave Towers. Keeps the lights on, so we're gonna use the electric for our mics.
That's it, yeah. So everything's a-glowing, everything's a-going. The ring light's all bright up there. Thank you to Patreon money. So get in touch, patreon.com/onTheRave if you want to become part of the front right massive. But we've reached that moment of the podcast once again where Addie delves deep into his world of scientific shenanigans, and I believe you have a song inspired by the wondrous Simon from today.
Yes, after hearing Anthony's story about Simon, I felt that he was missing out, really.
He should have went to go and see all of the Hong Kong call.
He should have went to see the Hong Kong violence. I think he would have embraced it into his heart. So I'm hitting Simon with a little bit of science. Science. And the scientific endeavour of today is Mr. Hellfish and Mr. Akira, and they're bringing us the rise of the Uptempians.
Whoa, there we go, some absolute foulness to send you all home with. Remember, you can catch us second Tuesday of every month on the Rave Radio Show, all the way on Method Radio, and you can catch these podcasts via Podbean. We've got some cracking guests lined up to come forward, so keep your eyes open for who we've got going on. But for now, I am Gav.
I'm Addie.
And we have been officially
off the rave.
Yo, fish, check my retransfer file, man. I sent you all my files for the collab. Just fuck it up, man. Put some kick drums on it. Just fuck it up, make them louder. But keep the rapper a little bit straight, you know. Don't fuck it too much up.
But I just wanna die. Outside in the all black crap. Tip rolled up in the map. Say they all wanna live, but I just wanna die. Outside in the all black crap. Tip rolled up in the map. Say they all wanna live, but I just wanna die.
Careful, Akira. You do not want to challenge me.
fact that you're dealing with an expert, with a man who's the best, with guns, with knives, with his bare hands. A man who's been trained to ignore pain, ignore weather, to live off the land, to eat things that'll make a billy go puke, to kill, period. What? A good supply of body bags.
Say they all wanna live, but I just wanna dance. Outside in the all black crap, tip rolled up in a
There was the best. Don't forget one thing. What?
but I just wanna dance.
I'm just amazed that you allowed any of your posse to live. You're lucky to be breathing.
Nah, you're fucking insane, man.
On the rave!
Hi, this is Mark Archer from Alternate.
Hi, this is Ian from Dream Frequency.
This is Slipmat, and you're in tune to the On the Rave.
On the Rave
On the rave!
Podcast.
Watch your bass fins, I'm telling you.
On the Rave with Addie and Gav is proudly sponsored by Xpress Lifestyle Solutions.
Whether it's home insurance or mortgages, Express Lifestyle Solutions can make a difference.